The Brooklyn monastery has some technical issues, so we'll kick out from the internet. So please wait for a couple minutes, maybe. 我看来正是他们那边有一些问题，刚刚在线上，现在有下线，有一些问题，所以请大家等一等。OK， 上来。Jin Fo是 ready？ 你们有人要请法吗？
弥陀佛，我们晚上由宣讲师来跟我们请法，好。
OK， 可以开始了吗？
可以了。好，我们开始请法，大家要合掌。恭请大德圣听，为此法会，皆一切众生，现在妙法论，教导我们如何了生
托斯离苦得乐，诸真无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, bestow the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering and accomplish and emperor and death, and quickly realize none but.
南无塔萨巴嘎多阿拉哈多萨玛三菩提萨。
南无大萨巴嘎瓦多阿拉哈多萨玛三菩提萨。
Homage to the present noble and perfect enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
南无萨旦陀斯切多耶阿拉哈提三藐三菩提萨。
南无萨旦陀斯切多耶阿拉哈提三藐三菩提萨。
好，开心记忆力，我们大家一起念：无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Premier, profound, and wonderful Dharma, subtle and profound,
rarely is encountered even in a billion years. But now we see it, hear it, and accept it reverently.
May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning.
好，
金
诸佛
佛师
菩萨。
要不要讲几句话？
OK， 好。
要不要介绍你一下？需要介绍吗？
啊，不用啦。
不用
吗？不用啦。
I'm asking Jin Fo whether I need to introduce him. He said, no need, not necessary. Just briefly, 简短的讲几句话。我想金佛师大家不陌生的，他不久前也在那边跟大家结过法缘。他在伯克利那里已经好几年了，他是在13年的时候受的具足戒，然后大概大部分时间都在伯克利。Just briefly, Master Jin Fo, I think many people know him. He was ordained in 2013, and then after that he spent most of time at Berkeley Monastery. And his specialty is indicated from his name. His name is Buddha, so he's reciting Buddha's name is his specialty. 坚博士的专攻的法门，从他的名字上你就晓得他是敬佛啊，所以他是念佛出人。坚博士很出名的是他的地中打得很好，所以在伯克莱那边很多居士都跟他学打地中。He's very good at playing. We call the ground bell, and many people around Berkeley learn that from him. 另外，他有一个长才，他是写书法写得很好。It's also the specialty. He's very good in Chinese calligraphy. Before the pandemic, when we have a big celebration, the CDP, he will write calligraphy and on a piece of wood and give that to everyone as a souvenir. Maybe you have that in your home. 他的书法写得很好，所以从前之前在万佛城这边的时候，碰到大法会很多信众来，他都会跟大家结法缘。他写几个字在那个木头切下来的树上头写了几个字， 然后和大家当做纪念品跟大家交换。也许你家里头就有几片也不一定。OK, so I'll stop here. 我就到这边为止，请法师请。
好，Yeah， 我想念佛比较重要，所以我们每天伯克利这边12点半到1点了，每天的没有停的，已经好几年了，所以也跟大家做一个广告，我们12点半到1点每天都是念佛，而且打地中念佛也很多其他的国家都一起来念佛，这个是最重要。好，我们开始诸佛菩萨先供上人，以及我们线上的法师，还有我们的佛友，线上的佛友，大家晚安。我们晚上呢，本来是施法师，因为施法师回来就比较忙，所以今天由莫雪来代讲。
Thank you for the kind introduction. Indeed, at Berkeley Monastery, for several years now, we have daily Buddha recitation mindfulness sessions from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. And 12:30?
12:30.
12:30 to 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
每天的 半个小时。
Half an hour, and I am, of course, in charge of the ground bell, and to lead everybody in the session. It is attended by Buddhists from all over internationally, indeed. So just to let everybody know that this is going on, and you're all welcome to join us. Today is Sunday, and we're going to be conducting a lecture on behalf of Venerable Shi, who is busy today. Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master Hua, Dharma masters, either online or present in the Way place, as well as all the Buddhist friends, welcome. And let's begin the lecture.
好，我们今天晚上的讲的题目是发扬净土法门。这个净土法门，我们知道就是净土中来念佛法门。
Today's topic is on how to propagate and expand the teaching of Pure Land.
我想我们还是一样的，我们一开始我们来念南无阿弥陀佛圣号，这个把阿弥陀佛我们来欢迎他，然后呢也把阿弥陀佛圣号引到我们的心中。
Let's again start by reciting and be mindful of the Buddha's name, and to welcome him to the assembly, as well as to make us all mindful, help us to be mindful and have the Buddha in our own mind.
好。南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛。南无阿弥陀 阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。好，我们今天我们是讲这个发扬净土法门。那这个我们净土，我们首先要了解我们的这个净土的教主，净土的教主就是阿弥陀佛，所以我们来讲一下阿弥陀佛他是怎么样子来成为这个极乐世界的这个教主。
As mentioned, we're going to be expounding on the Pure Land teaching, and of course the teaching host of the Pure Land, of the Western land of ultimate bliss, is Amitabha Buddha. So let's explore a bit about how he became the Dharma host of that world.
这个阿弥陀，这个是一个梵语，就是这个梵语叫做阿弥陀，它的意思呢，就是说无量，阿弥陀是无量，然后呢，也就是说这个彼佛的光明无量，寿命无量，所以故号阿弥陀。
Amitabha, of course, is a Sanskrit term, and it means boundless, limitless. In what? In light, and as well as in longevity, in lifespan.
也就是说，他的有一个故事，就是说很久的时候呢，有一个世自在王佛，的那个时候呢，有一个国王啊，他听这个世自在王在说法，他心里非常的高兴，他就发了这个无上这个道义，然后呢，就是无上道义，就是说来学习这个佛法，听这个自在王如来，然后呢，后来他就弃国兼亡，他就不再当国王了，所以去做沙门了。那这个做了沙门呢，他的这个就是我们称他为法藏。
It's the stories began long time ago when a Buddha by the name of World Comfort, King of World Comfort, was teaching in a particular world system. And Amitabha Buddha at that time was a king. And he was fortunate to be able to listen to the teaching of that Buddha, and he was extremely joyous to the point that he decided to abandon his throne and gave it up to other people to become a monk. His name was the Treasury of Dharma.
所以他当然我们就称他为法藏比丘。然后呢，他这个时候这个释在王就是这个王佛呢，释在王佛来求法，就跟他这个来求法，然后呢，这个释在王佛呢，就来跟他广收210亿支佛刹，就是说哇，那么多的这个佛刹，这个所有的天人啊，还有人的这些善恶呢，还有国土的出息好坏呢，都应其心愿，就是他都了解，在心里面都了解。
Bhikshu Dharma treasury was interested in something, and he approached the Buddha requesting Dharma. He requested that the Buddha describe to him in detail Buddha lands of the 10 directions. In response to his request, the Buddha, king of self-comfort, went ahead and in great detail described to him 21 billion Buddha lands, how they were made, what characteristic they have, particularly the heavenly dwellers, the people in it, whether they are wholesome or evil, and all the subtle characteristics of each and every one of those Buddha lands, he was able to describe to him.
所以呢，这个法藏比丘呢，他就听佛来跟他给他收这个严净的国土，然后呢，他都看了之后，他发了这个无上殊胜的这个愿啊，就是他自己发起这个愿呢，然后呢，他就发了之后呢，他心里就非常寂静，然后他就发了足足的5个时节来思考这个庄严佛国清净的这些国土。
Upon hearing such description of the numerous Buddha lands and observing the unsurpassed features, the Bhikshu Dharma treasury was extremely inspired, and when he saw such adornment and purity in each of the Buddha's land, he himself gave rise to also to a unsurpassed set of vows. And at that point in samadhi, in a still mind, he made up his mind and thoroughly observe and think through all the features, and that this thought process lasted 5 long kalpas.
所以呢，他这个在这个5节里面，他修行 修完了以后呢，他就到这个是在王佛那里来跟他佛来跟表明这个佛跟他说，他然后这个佛就跟他说，好啊，那你说我愿意来听看看你所说的这一些什么手愿，你所说的什么发愿，所以呢，他总共说了48大愿。
This process of contemplation and also gathering in the essence of these numerous Buddha lands and the pure conducts within each one of them, he was able to cultivate upon that knowledge. And at the end, he approached the Buddha, king of self-comfort, and spoke to the Buddha, asking the Buddha to listen to a set of vows that he has formulated. And the Buddha was happy and asked him to, in great detail, speak about all those vows that he has formulated. And there are a total of 48 of them.
所以像第一大愿他讲就是说我得佛，国有地狱，恶鬼畜生，这个是三恶道，他就不起正觉。
The first one, that he vowed that if his own Buddha land has the three evil paths of rebirth, the hells, the hungry ghosts, and the animal realms, he shall not attain enlightenment.
而且呢，也在第二愿，也就是说，他的这个国中就是他的国度就是西方极乐世界的天人他命中以后呢，他也不会堕到这个三恶道，就是地狱、恶鬼、畜生去。
The second vow, he says, assuming that eventually I obtain Buddhahood, the heavenly dwellers and humans in my country, if at the end of their lifespans were to fall into the three evil paths, I shall not take enlightenment.
就是说他不起正觉就不会成这个阿弥陀佛，所以呢我们没有办法来一一来说明这个48大愿。在第41愿呢，我想提出来，因为他有特别讲他听到我的名字，然后呢这个所有人来听到名字，然后得佛，然后就是去在阿弥陀佛那里，然后呢他这个诸根诸根切肉不具足则不起正觉，就是说去到阿弥陀佛那里的那一些人呢，都是非常庄严的这些人。
Of course, we don't have time to go through all 48 of them, but I would like to point out the importance of the 41st vow, in which the Buddha said, assuming that eventually I attain Buddhahood, and all the bodhisattvas who gain rebirth in my land and heard about my name, and if they arrive at my country with any kind of lacking in their own roots of any kind, lacking in any kind of roots, I shall not attain enlightenment.
而且呢， 他还讲啊，这个十方世界的所有的天人民呢，假如有自心要来求去阿弥陀佛那里，假如这些人呢，他因为我们知道要去那里都是要有一些功德，但是假使是说他没有做这些功德的话呢，但是他有发无上菩提心，然后一心来专意来念，乃至10念来念无量寿佛，就是阿弥陀佛，一向专念10念去阿弥陀佛，然后呢，他愿意去阿弥陀佛那里去闻法，然后呢，他也都可以欢喜心要的，可以去那里修行。
And of course, the 42nd vow is also very important, in which the Buddha says people, living beings from 10 directions, heavenly beings and human alike, if they are intent, if they are sincere in seeking rebirth in my land, even though they have not been able to cultivate all manners of merits and virtues, all they have to do is to bring forth the mind for the Supreme Bodhi and be focused. If they were able to do this for 10 instances, in those 10 instances, be mindful of the Buddha limitless life, which is myself, and vow to be born in the country, and happy about listening to the Dharma. And even if they are able to accomplish only one of such mindfulness instance.
所以呢，他讲甚至于刚才讲10念他甚至于1念你只要有一个念头然后你来想这个去阿弥陀佛那里要诚心的，然后呢要想去他那里，那这个人呢，他临命终的时候呢，他会梦见这个阿弥陀佛，然后就可以往生。
In fact, just like what was said earlier, even if this person cannot complete the 10 instances of mindfulness, even if it's as little as 1 instance of mindfulness, and if this person were to do so in utmost sincerity and vow to be reborn in my land, such a person at the end of life shall in a dream see the Buddha and be able to successfully gain rebirth.
所以呢，他有这样子的一个愿所以他说他假如说不是这样子的话呢，他也不成佛。所以这个是一个我们临终每个人有生有死，那我们死的时候来念佛那就可以往生去他那里。
So, in summary, a person just have to be sincere and to be successful in gaining rebirth in my country.
所以呢，刚才讲的这个是可以讲是第18愿这个不能够去的呢，大概是只有这个忤逆罪或者是诽谤正法 这个是我们要非常了解的。我们不可以来随便来讲没有这一回事啦，诽谤啊正法，因为我们这个是不念佛啊老太婆的法门啦，这样子都是来诽谤正法的，我们不可以这样子来做。
Correction, that was vow number 18 for people who just have to bring forth a very minimum but sincere vow to be reborn. The only exception to that would be people who have committed the 5 heavy offenses and those people who slander the proper Dharma. So for people who look down upon Pure Land cultivation, thinking that it is only suitable for old ladies, we have to remember the Buddha's vast vows that paves the way for everyone to accomplish something extraordinary.
所以呢，还有一个就是19愿里面呢，他也有提到，你假如是说来发菩提心、修诸功德，然后发愿要去，然后呢，在要往生的时候，临命终时呢，他都会率的，就是跟着率领这个大众来围绕这个要往生的人的这样子的前面围绕他，那假如说不是这样子的话，他不起正觉，就是说围绕他来领他去阿弥陀佛那里。
Number 19 vow is another challenge that the Buddha laid down for himself, that he said, if assume that I will obtain Buddhahood, at which point if living beings of the 10 directions who have brought forth the Bodhi mind and have cultivated merits and virtues and also brought forth the vow to be reborn in my land, when they are at the end of their life, if I do not lead my entire assembly and surround this person who is about to be reborn, if I don't appear in front of him, I shall not attain enlightenment.
还有这个就是说，第20愿呢，它也是就是说十方的众生呢，听到他的名号，然后系念我国，就是来系念阿弥陀佛那里，然后呢可以直种得本，然后呢你就可以种很多的这个道德的这个根本，然后呢自心来回向。假如说就是回向去我国，就是去阿弥陀佛那里。假如不是这样子的话呢，他就不成佛。所以这个就是来劝十方的国度的众生呢，听到他的佛号，然后呢要去他那里，他就是你就可以去这样子的一个。来劝十方的人呢，都去阿弥陀佛那里，因为去阿弥陀佛那里修行，最终就是可以成佛的，所以我们也了解这一点。
Number 20, again the Buddha said, if I were to obtain Buddhahood, and for living beings from the 10 directions, who have heard about my name and be mindful of me while planting a reserve of virtues, and then returning these merits and virtue such that they can be reborn in my land. If they fail to do so, I shall not attain enlightenment. And of course, once we have to understand that once a person arrives at the Pure Land, eventually, ultimately, this person will accomplish Buddhahood.
好，这个是阿弥陀佛，这个是自在王如来的一个法藏比丘修行，成就这个西方极乐世界。另外呢，还有一个就是有一个王是自在王。有一尊是王如来世界呢，他有过一夜恒河沙劫，然后呢入第二恒河沙劫的时候呢，他有一个世界就是叫做安乐，这个就是来这个有尊英王如来，他就特别来这个是跟一个佛陀受记，就是来跟这个阿弥陀佛来受记，那时候你就可以来做佛，跟他讲，所以他的名号叫做无量寿佛。
So planning this route for establishing his own Buddha land, the Bhikshu Dharma treasury was predicted to be ultimately accomplishing his goal for Buddhahood by the Buddha, king of self-comfort. That Buddha says towards the western direction, over tens of billions of Buddha land, there is a Buddha by the name of respected Sang. And then past that world system for another long distance, the distance measured by the number of sands in the Ganges River. And over such large number of kalpas, entering the second river sand of Ganges River sand of kalpas, that after such a long time, a world is formed, and that world's name became comfort and ease. Ease and happiness. At that moment, you shall become a Buddha, and you'll be known as the Buddha of boundless life.
所以无量寿佛也就是阿弥陀佛。好，我们下面还有讲一个，在《法华经》里面呢，也有一个大通智胜佛。这个时候呢，然后有一个他那时候他有16个孩子，16个孩子，然后呢，这个大通智胜佛的16个儿子呢，他们都去出家当沙弥。
Another sutra also mentioned along the line that in the past, during the Buddha's supreme and greatly penetrating wisdom, before he left home, this Buddha had 16 sons, and all 16 sons left home as pure youth. And when they became Sramana, at that moment, the Buddha...
Yeah. 然后呢，他们当沙弥以后，这个大通智胜佛呢，来跟他们来说这个法华经，然后呢，在他讲了以后，他们都去来打坐入静，然后84000劫，那这个时候呢，有这个就有16位菩萨，然后呢，也就是说这16位啊，都成了菩萨，然后呢，他们这些菩萨也都来跟大家四部众啊，就是说我们四部就是出家还有这个在家的这个出家2部，还有在家2部，总共4部来说这个，他们也都是来说妙法莲华经。
This Buddha to be with 16 sons who became Sramanas, he spoke the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra to the 16 of them. At the end, all 16 entered the dhyana room, and this samadhi lasted 84,000 kalpas, at the end of which all 16 of them became bodhisattvas and were able to ascend to the Dharma seat and spoke Dharma to the fourfold assembly.
所以呢，这个16位菩萨呢，它里面呢有一名是阿弥陀，这个是第16位阿弥陀。那这个第16位阿弥陀呢，就是我释迦牟尼佛，所以可以说呢，释迦牟尼佛也是阿弥陀佛。
And when these 16 bodhisattvas spoke the Dharma, they all expounded on the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra. And this Dharma assembly lasted 68,000 billions of nayatas. So spoke to taught numerous living beings. The number 16 of the 16 of them was a bodhisattva called Amitabha. And our Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, says that person was me.
所以呢，这个我们来我们讲这个阿弥陀佛经啊，是真的是没有人知道，所以舍利弗他一直来跟舍利弗啊，怎么样子啊，这个其实这个没有人知道这个阿弥陀经是这样子，所以他自己来自说，所以这个是我们知道阿弥陀佛其实就是释迦牟尼佛。
This kind of long history and track seldom is known by people. Indeed, even Shakyamuni Buddha's foremost student, Sariputra, did not know, and the Buddha himself had to bring it up and divulge it to the assembly so that they have that knowledge and understanding.
好，我们这个算 释迦牟尼佛我们来阿弥陀佛也来介绍啦。那这个其实这个诸佛法身呢，它是遍一切处，不管你是比如说那佛、阿弥陀佛也都是一样的，它本无尽碎，他们都是没有什么清净或者碎就是污秽也没有什么安东西什么东方西方的都是我们的一个方便法门都是我们来念阿弥陀佛，这个是一个方便法门。
But broadly speaking, we have to understand that the Dharma body of all the Buddhas cover everywhere, extend to every corner of the universe. So Amitabha Buddha's Dharma body certainly is the same. This Dharma body is beyond pure or impure. Certainly, there is no notion of East versus West. It's just an expedient way for the Buddha to conduct the teaching.
所以呢，像这个极乐世界的同居土你不管是圣人或者凡夫呢，他都可以在那里。所以呢，他像我们五浊的这个众生呢，然后呢，肯发心来念佛，这个来去他那里呢，是我佛慈悲。这个就是说我们的这个佛非常慈悲来给大家的一个方便。所以呢，我们来能够碰到这个大法门来听到这个弥陀的本愿呢，这个是我们真的要来发心希有心，我们要去那里，我们不要去来来背负逃世，就是说你不肯去，而且你还逃掉，这样子是会穷途末路的，你会来长劫漂流，这样子在这个世间上，所以是非常的可悲的。所以呢，我们不知道。
In the land of ultimate bliss, that land is unmatched by any other Buddha land. Multitude of living beings from the five turbidity existence, all they have to do is to be willing to gain rebirth, even for 10 instances of mindfulness, they shall succeed. And when doing so in an instance, these living beings transcend the dusty world and dusty kalpas. This is all because of the great compassion of the Buddha, so that we can attain such utmost supreme fruit. So when we are lucky enough to encounter this great Dharma and hear about Amitabha Buddha's original vows and their merits and virtue, and yet we don't realize how rare this is, and bring forth a mind of great admiration. This is like a son turn his back towards his father and runs away. The end result is running into dead ends, adrift over long stretches of time, and even people who want to help cannot, would be ineffective. Knowing this, how can we not be frightened?
我们这个净土教主阿弥陀佛，我们知道还有2位来菩萨来协助这个净土教主的。我们知道一个是观世音菩萨，另外一个是大势至菩萨。
At the Pure Land, the Dharma host Amitabha Buddha is assisted by 2 great bodhisattvas. The first one is the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva that contemplates the world's sound. The second one is the Bodhisattva Great Strength.
这个关于这2位菩萨，等一下我们有时间我们再讲。我们来听听我们仙公上人他的一个来在净土法门来一个修行的这个法门呢，我们来听听仙公上人的这个开示。
Our Venerable Master Hua, of course, spoke about the Pure Land extensively, and here is some of his instructions.
Yeah. 那这个仙公上人讲这个净土法门是诸大菩萨赞叹的这个法门。
The Venerable Master said, the Pure Land Dharma door is praised by all the superior and supreme beings in the universe.
这个他说你们的这个心都忙得很一天到晚都是在找工作，找来找去都没有休息。那我们这个心呢，不给他一件事情做呢，他总会不自在，所以我们就来找一个南无阿弥陀佛。
Our mind runs around, busy all day, from day to night, whether to look for work or any kind of distraction, never gaining any kind of rest. So this mind, if you don't put in front of it something meaningful to do, this mind will never gain self-ease. So we came up with this idea of reciting homage to Amitabha Buddha as a solution.
所以呢，这一句佛号呢，其实也就是说我们参禅，因为我们这个净土法门还有参禅法门，你不要以为呢，坐在那里参禅把眼睛一闭装模作样就是参禅。
Really, reciting this one sentence of the Buddha's name is the same as dhyana meditation. Now, of course, in dhyana, don't think that just sitting there, close your eyes, put up some appearance, that's the same as investigating dhyana. Even if you open your eyes, you still can investigate dhyana.
所以呢，你睁着眼睛也可以参禅，行也禅，坐也禅，以默动静，体安然。所以行住坐卧呢，都是在参禅。然后呢，他讲啊，有名禅师，他有说四料简。下面我们来说四料简。
So whether you close your eyes, open your eye, you can diligently investigate dhyana, such that you can say when you're walking, you're in dhyana, when you're sitting, you're in dhyana. Whether you're speaking or silence, moving or still, your entire being rests in comfort and ease. So whether you walk, stay, sit, lie down, all are opportunities to investigate dhyana. So below we're going to look into for a gather from the great master Yongming Jin Fo Dhyana master.
他讲啊，有禅，有净土，有如带脚虎，现世为人师，来生做佛祖。那有禅无净土，十人九叉路。无禅有净土，无禅有净土呢，万修万人去。
This great master contrasts the difference between dhyana investigation and Pure Land cultivation. He says, if a person has both dhyana and Pure Land cultivation, it's like a tiger that has horns. This person for sure is a teacher during his time in the world, and in the future he shall be a Buddha or patriarch. Now, on the other hand, if a person only investigates dhyana and neglects Pure Land, 9 out of 10 people would be wasting his or her time. Yet, a person who does not practice dhyana meditation but adhere to Pure Land practice, 10,000 people who cultivate, 10,000 people will successfully go to the Pure Land.
这个就是说，我们来修行这个净土法门非常重要。你能够有净土又有禅呢，然后你将来你就是来做佛祖，来当人的老师。然后呢，假如说有禅没有净土的话呢，你10个人呢，9个人你就走歪路了，就走错路了。所以呢，假如说没有禅，但是有净土的，在修净土的人呢，真的是万修万人去啊！每一个人修净土都可以去阿弥陀佛那里。
So again, this remarkable gatha from Great Master Jin Fo points out the superior practice of Pure Land. Of course, when a person practices both dhyana and Pure Land, it's a very supreme way. In contrast, if a person neglects Pure Land practice, success rate of liberation is very low. In contrast, cultivating Pure Land is a surefire practice.
所以呢，仙公上人讲啊，这个净土法门呢是最容易修的，最容易修的一个法门啊，当然就是你只要念佛。所以呢，在过去的这个大菩萨呢，都是赞叹这个修行这个法门的。
The fact is, the Pure Land Dharma door is indeed something very easy to get into, something easy to cultivate. And for that reason, bodhisattvas, great bodhisattvas, all of them in the past, all praised this particular Dharma door.
他还特别举这个文殊菩萨呢，也是来赞叹这个念佛，普贤菩萨也是，然后呢，十方的众生呢，也都可以往生去净土。观音菩萨也是念佛的，还有呢，大势至菩萨念佛圆通章，这个我们大家都知道，念佛圆通章就是要一个万修万年期的这个念佛法门，所以呢，这个都是在这些大菩萨呢，都是来赞叹念佛法门。
For instance, Manjusri Bodhisattva praised the Dhamma door of mindfulness of Buddha, and certainly universal worthy Bodhisattva in the chapter of the conducts of universal worthy in the Avatamsaka. It focuses on gathering living beings from the 10 directions and help them to be reborn in the Pure Land. And certainly, Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara also practices mindfulness of the Buddha. And in the Surangama Sutra, there's a chapter devoted to the great strength Bodhisattva and how he perfected his cultivation by being mindful of the Buddha. So they all greatly recommend this Dharma door and said that they're great.
所以呢，我们在过去的一些祖师们呢，他们都先来参禅，然后再念佛，开悟了之后呢，就专门只有念佛了，像这个永明禅师呢，他就是念一句阿弥陀佛，就有一尊这个阿弥陀佛在他的这个口里面来化现出来。还有我们的近代印光大师呢，他也是专门来提倡念佛法门。西老，我们的西引老和尚也是来提倡念佛法门的。
So every one of them praise this particular Dharma door and also put into practice themselves. They cultivate Pure Land. Many of them started out as investigating dhyana and then turned over to cultivate mindfulness of Buddha. They do so after they have gained enlightenment through dhyana meditation. And yet, once they accomplish that, they put the mind into reciting the Buddha's name. And quick example was the great dhyana master Yongming So. In fact, at the end, whenever he recited Amitabha Buddha's name, an image of Amitabha Buddha came out from his mouth. Certainly, the last Pure Land patriarch, the Venerable Yin Guang, he greatly recommended and taught mindfulness of Buddha Dharma door. The Xu Yuan, the Venerable Xu Yuan, of course, emphasized the importance of Buddha recitation as well.
还有呢，仙公上人讲啊，在《弥陀经》上呢，有讲啊，十方诸佛多出广长舌相，遍乎三千大千世界，来赞叹这个法门。所以呢，十方诸佛为什么要赞叹呢？就从这一点就可以证明啊，仙公上人从这一点证明呢，这个修这个念佛法门是最好的，尤其是末法时代，我们现在是末法时代，所以都劝我们人人都应该来修。
So this Dharma door, convenient, easy, simple, yet completely perfect, truly a superior Dharma door, praised by all the Buddhas from the 10 directions. If you just look into the Amitabha Buddha Sutra, it describes how Buddhas of the 10 directions expounded on this particular topic using their broad and long appearance of tongue and speech, covering the 3,000 great thousand world systems, so that they can praise this particular Dharma door. If this is not correct, why would they be doing so? This only proves that the Buddha recitation Dharma door, it really is the best, especially in this Dharma ending age. We really all should look into cultivating it.
还有仙公上人他在讲这个《华严经书》的时候呢，《华严经书》的时候，他讲啊，念佛的人就是佛，心心念念都是佛，久而久之就变成佛。
The Venerable Master further expounded on this idea when he was lecturing on the explanation of Avatamsaka's introduction. He said, anybody who is mindful of the Buddha is the Buddha. Every mind, every thought is Buddha. If you have that kind of practice, you become a Buddha after a while. On the other hand,
还有他说啊，参禅的人还谈不到就是佛，因为参禅呢，他是在找佛。我们也在如来寺参禅过，都是在找谁是佛。然后呢，还不敢承担我是佛，所以呢，参禅的呢，他不敢承担呢，我是佛，所以呢，念佛是谁？找来找去就向外跑了，就你的心就向外跑了。
Those investigating dhyana can't really speak of Buddhahood in this vein, because in investigating Chan, we look for the Buddha. We don't dare to shoulder the thought that we are already a Buddha. We investigate the topic of who is it that is being mindful of the Buddha. And looking, a person can lose track.
所以呢，念佛啊，你就是把佛回来了，把这个佛找回来了，回到自己的心里，也就不必要去向外找。所以呢，念佛的时候呢，你就跟佛打成一片，然后呢，决定往生西方。
So being mindful of the Buddha is like the Buddha returning to your mind. You don't have to look outside for it. Being mindful of the Buddha is being together completely merge with the Buddha, and for sure you're going to be able to reborn in the Western land, and you be mindful of Buddha, Buddha is mindful of you.
所以呢，你念佛，佛就念你啊，结果就成佛。所以呢，你也不必要去研究，去找，这个就是一个念佛的好处。
So you are mindful of the Buddha is mindful of you, and at the end you become a Buddha. There's no need to study this and research this anymore, and not knowing what is good.
下面一个非常好的消息，他讲啊，我告诉你们一句真心话了。我最喜欢的事就是来念南无阿弥陀佛，这个是仙公上人他自己亲口的亲说的一句真话。
In fact, the master emphasized something. He said, I will tell you something really true, a true sentence. Myself, the happiest thing I do is to be mindful and recite the name Namo Amitabha. When I'm sleeping, I recite it. When I'm dreaming.
所以呢，他做梦也在念阿弥陀佛，站的时候也是来念南无阿弥陀佛。任何时间呢，前后左右都被阿弥陀佛占满了，因为阿弥陀佛要和我合成一个。
Even when I'm dreaming, I recite the Buddha's name. When I'm standing, I recite Namo Amitabha. At any given moment, in front of me, to the left, to the right, behind me, or surrounding me, Amitabha Buddha surrounding me, completely filling all the spaces, because Amitabha Buddha and me are fused into one.
而且呢，仙公上人他有讲过呢，西方极乐是金家。其实我们也有这本书叫做《西方极乐是金家》，其实就是说来告诉我们西方极乐是我们要去的地方，劝大家来去那里，那里才是我们的家。
In fact, the Master published a book. The title is "The Western Land of Ultimate Bliss is Your True Home."
金博士，你要不要留一些时间给大家发问？要不要留一些时间给大家发问？
哦，好，也可以等一下，我们时间还有一点，然后呢，我想我们等一下我会有阿弥陀佛他的宏愿歌曲啊，我们大家可以来听这个歌曲，我想这个要来分享给大家的。然后我看这个看大家有没有什么问题要发问的，我们现在可以来发问。
Anyone with questions can bring forth the questions now.
假如没有，我们就还是来继续来讲一下这个仙公上人的这个开示。
If not, let's continue with the Master's instruction.
大家如果有问题的话，请写在 chat box. If you have any questions, please type in the chat box.
Yeah， 请大家可以
边有一个问题，这个郑丽文他问了一个问题，很长的问题在这边。I read English. I got a question for Jin Fo Shi. At the beginning of lecture, you lead the assembly to recite the Amitabha Buddha's name. The melody and the recitation resonate with my mind. Can I continue to be mindful of the Amitabha Buddha in that way? And then silently in my mind, or just learn Amitabha Buddha name without any melody? 他的意思就是说，一开始的时候，你带着大家念佛，那个调子很好听。那他在问，就是说，他是不是有办法继续着能够心心念的佛，但是默念，
默念也是一个方法，
或者是只有念阿弥陀佛的圣号，而没有任何的调子。
他这个念佛的方法有金刚念，你可以在嘴巴念，然后呢，你可以开口念，这个都很好，或者是说你有地宗，你当然可以打地宗。打地宗念佛最殊胜，因为你一打地宗的话，自己你跟着会念，甚至于打地宗呢，可以旁边的人可以一起，甚至于我们看不到的一些鬼神都可以一起来，因为他听到这个钟声都会来，所以这个打地宗念佛，我觉得是最殊胜。那我们伯克利这边。我们都是提倡打地宗，我们有地宗队，我们的地宗队呢，以前我们都是在礼拜六的时候，我们大家这个整个佛殿呢，大家一起打地宗，非常殊胜的。
The question was the reciting aloud, the tone was very, very nice. But what about reciting in silence, just lip recitation? And the Dharma Master says certainly that can be done. The superior aspect of reciting aloud is, especially when you accompany it with the ground belt. You can recite it with a large group of people, large group of living beings, whether you can see them or the ones that you cannot see them, the spirits. They can also follow because it's very beneficial for them. At Berkeley Monastery, we used to have sessions where everybody go with the ground belt, and it's a tremendously happy event.
另外一个问题和刚刚这个问题很相近的，就是他说问题是念佛是观相念佛还是心念？口念、默念如何念？
你观相念佛这个法门是一个法门，那这个要把这个像放在前面，你可以看着这个佛像来念佛，但是有的他没有佛像的话，那这个就可能就那个比较就是没有办法去来有看到这个佛像来念佛。
The question was, what about being mindful of Buddha through an image, contemplating the Buddha's image? And the Dharma Master said, certainly that can be done, especially if you have the Buddha's image in front of you, so that you can practice with it. On the other hand, you may not always have that luxury, and then that becomes more difficult.
我知道有的佛像是1尺多，这个是最好可以看的一个我们视线1尺多高的这个阿弥陀佛像，这个是最好的一个来看的这个佛像来念佛。
Of course, if your practice is deep, you can, in contemplation, in Guan, you are able to create that image yourself, and that, of course, is the most superior.
另外一个问题，我说念佛是专念阿弥陀佛，还是观音世音菩萨都可以念？
可以，观音菩萨跟念佛都是同一个甚至于大悲咒，这个都是可以在来都算咒语，这个都是可以去阿弥陀佛那里，所以这个是应该是同一个法门的。
Question was, what about reciting the names of Guan Yin Bodhisattva? Would that also be a successful way to gain rebirth? And the Dharma Master says, yeah, they are of the same world, and certainly you can go by that as well.
所以这个有的人呢，他因为他的念观音，有的从香港方面，他们很多或者是越南人从越南过来美国，他们都是经过观世音菩萨来救度，所以他们很多的都是念南无观世音菩萨。我讲这个都是同样的一个法门。
Now, of course, reciting Guan Yin Bodhisattva's name is greatly popular. People from Hong Kong, particularly people from Vietnam, through the refugee program, they are very faithful to Guan Yin Bodhisattva. And if so, reciting Guan Yin's name is also very effective in gaining rebirth.
时间已经差不多了，在最后一个问题，念佛就是在活期的时候有止境，那这个止境的时候是默念佛号呢，还是指安静的坐在那里打坐？
要默念佛号啦，自己心里面呢来默念。我知道我们佛期我们以前在圣城佛期的时候，我们就是要心里要默念南无阿弥陀佛，自己因为你在那么多人在那，你不可以出声嘛，所以你就自己心里默念，这样子就可以。
When you are meditating, can you recite the Buddha's name in quiet? And the Dharma Master says, of course, yeah, during such a session, you don't want to disturb other people, but certainly you can use the Buddha's name as a means for your concentration and focus.
我们谢谢净佛师我精湛的演讲。So we thank Master Jin Fo for the thorough discussion of the recitation of the Buddha's name and mindfulness of the Buddha. 那我这边跟大家报告一下下礼拜天的讲演。So I like to go briefly to the lecture next Sunday.
我
下礼拜，稍等一下，我把这个跟大家介绍一下。Next Sunday will be Reverend Fisher will come back to give lecture, and he's going to talk. The title of his lecture is "Singing the Heart, Seeing the Nature," interpreting Master Yongjia's Song of Enlightenment. 下礼拜天，释法师会和大家说法。他的讲题是唱自本心，见自本性，解说永嘉大师真道歌。In fact, this is a series of 3 lectures. He's going to speak 3 times, 3 Sundays in a row. So this is the first one. 他会这个题材会连续讲3次，所以下礼拜天是第一次。因为接下来我们就在万国城这边打禅期，3周的禅期，所以他就在这个禅期期间就和大家来讨论这个永嘉大师真道歌。And CDTB will have the 3 weeks chant after the Amita session. So Reverend Fisher will lecture on the Song of Enlightenment.For those 3 Sundays. 金博士，你有什么事情要讲吗？
我想给大家听一下这个我们的阿弥陀佛的这个鸿雁一个歌曲，我想大概2-3分钟，也这个是一个阿弥陀佛他的大愿。
Here's a song devoted to the great vows of Amitabha Buddha.
好，我们的这个阿弥陀佛的歌就到这里我们就晚上讲法就到这里。阿弥陀佛，杨法师还有什么事？
来做个回向，好吧？
好，
好。David and Mary， 那个 Adam will lead us。
我们要用什么方式回向，或者是用我们的这个，
就那荧幕上的这个任意时空的这个，Adam会带着我们来唱，是吧？那种。
你。
So Adam, you can start anytime.
Okay. 阿弥陀佛。 May the Mary from this practice earn all the Buddha's lands, repay the kindness from above, and rescue those in paths below. May all who see or hear this resolve upon awakening, and when this body meets its end, be born together in the land of bliss.
And 3 head bows. Ni 老和尚 Thank Jin Fo again. Also thank the translator. The name is Fred, isn't it? 谢谢金佛师，也谢谢今天的翻译。阿弥陀佛。